So welcome to my home studio art table kitchen. This is where I do my art, and you can do it anywhere that you have a flat surface, whether you have a kitchen or not. We're going to have a lot of fun today. We're going to learn how to draw simple birds that are just made out of circles. Today's materials are just like we talked about in the first lesson. All you really need is a pencil and an eraser. However, if you have a black pen, that makes it even more fun. And I like to use an eraser that's a little bit nicer, that doesn't disturb the paper that much. But just the good old eraser at the end of your pencil will work. We have crayons for residents at the Redwoods. They're available down in the studio. And you can make beautiful birds with just the 8 colors presented here. If you want to use watercolor, this was a set I suggested for a previous class. It's Prang. There's 16 colors, but you can buy an 8 color one, and they're very inexpensive. I can't tell you, I think it was less than $10, I can't remember. And it comes with an inexpensive brush. This brush is a little bit nicer. It's a Princeton. And then if you use the watercolor, of course, you need a little jar or a container with water and a paper towel to wipe your brush. You also need a piece of paper, and you can use printer paper, or what I like to use is drawing paper I just got from Office Depot. So it's like printer paper, but it's a little bit thicker. Those of you who want to do watercolor, I suggest getting watercolor paper. This is Canson, which is an inexpensive brand. It's a heavyweight paper, and you can find something like this on Amazon, or when you do get out and about, it'll be in your local art stores. So that's all we need for today. So we're going to start doing a bird with a circle. A circle is one of the harder things to draw, so don't worry if your circle isn't perfect. True confessions, I used the bottom of a cup for one of the circles, and I used a plate for the other. But you can just draw it freehand. And what I find drawing it freehand, if I just go like that with my pencil and then just lay down a line, it does not have to be perfect. This is not a perfect bird. So we're going to make a bird in 7 stages. The first thing we're going to do is draw a circle. And what I'm going to do is I'm doing it with pen so that you can see it better. And I cheated. I already put it in pencil. I have to do true confession so you won't think I'm just this marvelous, incredible artist that doesn't make mistakes. However, I'm not making it all the way around, and I'll explain later. But you can make yours all the way around. That's the first part. And I have a cheat sheet here, which you'll have copies of. So you draw a circle. That's the first thing. The next thing, which is in red, that's the next step, is we're going to elongate the tail end of the bird like that. That's going to be his tail. And then the fourth thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a line along the tail end. The tail's going to be bigger. Okay, and then we're going to connect the tail more. Remember, yours is in pencil so that you could erase this later. I'm not doing mine in pencil so you can see it, but that's how we got to the tail. The fifth step is to add. We have to add the head. So we're going to do another circle, and this circle is kind of connected to the first circle. So we have the head, the body, the bump for the tail, and the tail. Okay, so the eye is a really important part of the bird's personality, and you'll find that depending on how you draw the eye, the bird could be happy or sad or whatever. I'm going to draw a large eye. And then the pupil of the eye normally does not extend through the whole eye. So I'm going to draw the black part, and I'm going to draw a little circle here to remind myself that when I color it, I'm going to leave a little spot of white. And if you look in somebody's eyes, you always see the reflection of light in them. And it's often in the pupil. So there's his eye. And then I'm going to add a beak. Let's see. And so he has the body, the head, the tail, the eye, the beak. So now we're going to add some wings. So his wings are kind of stubby, and they're kind of like the top half of a circle. Just you can kind of go like that for the wings. And if you've ever noticed birds' legs, they're kind of small compared to the bird, so kind of stubby legs, and they go like that and they bend like that. We'll give her some toes. And this leg comes from the other side, so we don't see the beginning of it. We're going to give her some toes. And then we're going to come back and make the wing more like a wing, and the way we do that is we kind of go like that. So now she has her wings, her legs, she has her eye, she has her beak, and you can do different kinds of beaks. I'm going to put that in. Sometimes the beaks extend like that too. Sometimes the beaks are like, you can do a beak. Here's a beak where it's open. So there are different ways of doing a beak. I'm going to do a close-up of an eye here. When you do an eye, you have the black part, fill it almost all the way up, but not all the way. And then remember our little reflection of light. And so the eye can have a lot of personality. Anyhow, that's just a fancy way to draw an eye. So we've got everything, the basic thing of a bird. Now, yours has been in pencil, and what you need to do next is to go over the lines you want to keep. You don't want to retrace this line because it's not going to show. This is going to be the tail. So you want to go in ink, and let's see. I'm going to use, just to show you, now I'm going to pretend that the pen is pencil, and I'm just going to go over the parts I want to keep. So I want to keep the tail. I want to keep the wings. I want to keep the head. I want to keep the body. I want to go over the legs. I want to go over the eye. And I want to go over the beak. So now, wherever the green is where the pen would be. I hope that's not confusing to you. So you do pencil first, then you go over with a pen and get the shape you want. What I've done is I've replicated the bird very quickly just with a green marking pen so that it will be like your bird with ink, but it doesn't show all the underneath stuff we did initially. And this is when you get to choose what your bird wants to look like. I'm going to make a happy bird. I like yellow, so I'm going to make a happy bird. So my basic color will be yellow. You notice I'm not coloring the eye. If you use the side of your crayon, it usually goes faster than if you put it up and down. This obviously is not going to be a great work of art that's going to be in the museum. I'm just having fun. Birds are happy. Maybe it's a canary, I'm not sure. Your bird could be red, it could be blue. I'll show you something in a bit where I made a fun card that you can make too, using different colors. Now usually the bird's beak is a little bit darker than the bird, so I'm going to use orange for the beak. And remember, you won't have a green beak, you'll just have the ink. There's his beak or her beak. I don't know if it's a ladybird or a male bird. I never thought it was fair that the males get all the fancy coloring and the females are often so drab. All right, now we talked about the eye, so I'm going to take, excuse me, I'm going to take black for the eye. And remember, I wanted to leave, I didn't want the pupil to cover the whole eye, so it's going to be like this. And I'm going to leave a little spot. The way it works for me is I make a circle first, so I won't forget to leave a little spot that's a highlight. There's the bird's eye. Now the bird's legs are usually somewhat like the color of the beak or a little bit darker. So I'm going to experiment. I'm going to put this on first, orange, and I'm going to cover it with brown. And remember, yours doesn't have any green, so it's going to look different than mine. Let me put it here. That would be the orange leg. Now I'm going to try covering it a little bit in brown so it's a little bit more faded looking. And that works pretty well. So let's see, anything else that he needs? I might take the orange and just accentuate some of his feathers. You can do whatever you want. Maybe you can do a blue bird of happiness. So there's my bird. Now I want to tell you about a fun project you might do. When you make the bird, and if the bird has her feet and her legs, usually birds are on something. You could put the bird on a branch. You could put a bird on a wire. What I did, this is a card that you can make. It looks ambitious, but if you do one bird at a time, it's really workable. What I did is, the first thing I did in this drawing was just draw a wire. And I went squiggly, squiggly, squiggly with black. Just like that, back and forth. And I first in pencil, I drew 6 birds, because what I wanted to do was have it go with happy birthday to you. So this is happy birthday to you. And look at how simple this little pink guy is, just like what we did. And you see the white in his eye, or her eye. So I did a bird for each beat of the song, and I had them facing different ways and different shapes, but you can see they're all basically circles. Some are elongated circles, some are fatter circles, some are smaller circles with another circle for the head, just like we did before. And then the legs, of course, attached to the wire. And then because it was going to be a birthday card, I printed out happy birthday to you. And you can do that too. And a good way to do it is to take a ruler and make a line, and then just print in your best printing in pencil first, because you might make mistakes and you want to kind of center it. So when we used to take typing back in the olden days, to center something, we would count how many letters, and then we'd count halfway between all the letters, and that would be the center. The center is right here. So I would do it first in pencil. You could do it in cursive or in all capital letters, and then come back in pen. And then I just repeated the colors that were up here in these kind of happy dots. But that would be a really fun project for you. And I've made little postcards out of this because I have a color printer, and I often send it to people who have birthdays, and they really like getting it. So I am hoping that you will at least make one bird, and if you're ambitious, you could make 6 birds and sing happy birthday to you. Thanks for coming. I appreciate the fact that you're here, and I really hope that you take the time to do something yourself. Bye.